Marpena. Thank you for joining us today on Living United. Today we're going to learn about one of our many partner organizations. United Way of the Brown County area is fortunate enough to provide support to as many as 24 different programs within the Brown County region. And we're able to do that thanks to the wonderful support of our community and from its donors. I'm joined today with someone from the food bank. Welcome.
Thank you.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Jill Curry, and I represent First United Methodist Church on the Food Shelf Board, and I'm on the Public Relations Committee, and that's why I got to be here to talk to you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. So tell us a little bit about what you have going on.
Well, March is Food Shelf Month, and so we have, it's kind of our big drive to get donations and people interested in using the food shelf and donating the food shelf. We have the big Boy Scout drive coming up on March 26th, and that usually is one of our biggest generators of both food and donations, and so we're hoping that'll be another successful year for that.
Can you tell us a little bit about how that goes?
Well, the Boy Scouts go, I'm not sure exactly how they're doing it this year, but they usually go door to door and collect things, and then that's delivered to the food shelf. The food shelf unloads it, weighs it, sorts it, and gets it ready to be used by the clients.
Wonderful. You mentioned Boy Scouts. Any other partners that you work with within the community at large, not just this?
We work with the Lions Club when we have a mobile unit that goes out to areas in New Ulm and Lafayette, and we're hoping to reach out to Hanska too. And so that is, the Lions Club helps a lot by getting the deliveries there and taking care of those kinds of things too, as well as our volunteers from the food shelf.
Right. Have you seen an increased need, maybe during the pandemic, but also in the last few months?
It's been pretty steady, actually.
Okay.
You would think there would be, an increase in that. I think a lot of the subsidies that people received during the time of the pandemic and then didn't have as much of a need for our food shelf, but there are always people that need it, and we're hoping more people will reach out and take advantage of the food shelf, because we would welcome more people to come. And so anybody that wants any help that qualifies, we're more than willing to service them.
Okay, so springing off of that, if a person did want to utilize your services, how would that process start?
They would just come to the food shelf. We're open Mondays and Wednesdays from noon to 3, and the first Monday of the month from 6:30 to 8. Okay. And they can come and they'll sit down at a table and fill out some information to make sure they get everything worked out for qualifying, and then it's just like shopping in the store. One of the volunteers will go with them with a shopping cart, and they get to pick. There's like a fruit and vegetable selection, there's a baking selection, there's a snack area, there's different areas, and they get so many items from each area depending on how large their family is or if it's an individual. And then there's a milk station, there's meat station, there's vegetables and fruit station, there's frozen, there's a whole bakery section. It's amazing what you can all get. And so we hope to have a lot of people take advantage of that. And this client choice has been really nice, because it's not just you get a box, you take it home and see what's inside of it. You actually get to pick what you want to use and take with you. So hopefully everything is just what you wanted.
That sounds really all comprehensive. How is it all maintained? Is everything volunteer run?
Yep, lots of volunteers. It's all volunteer run. Well, there is the executive director, part-time executive director, Brad Kirk, that's in charge of coordinating everything. But we have volunteers that all the food that comes in as a donation gets weighed and then sorted and put on shelves, labeled for dates of when it expires by and those kinds of things, and then all of those things then are stocked onto the shelves where the client can go through and select. And so if we have an overabundance of green beans, you might get to take 3 for 1 instead of, depending on what happens to be the overstocked items that we have.
Okay.
But we even get local people that donate extra fruits and vegetables, you know, especially in the summer, those kinds of things. They'll just bring them and drop them off. And
like
Second Harvest,
Yep.
okay. We are also in coordination with them. We will buy things from them, but then also if they have an overrun on something, they will bring that to our food shelf area too. So we do get items from other places, cash-wise, craft, different places like that. When they have things that they're not going to be able to use, they will donate them. And so there's lots of partnering going on that we do to help fill up the shelves so we have food for people.
That's wonderful. Are you in need of any more volunteers, or how are you on that front?
We can always take volunteers.
Okay.
There are many churches in town that are in charge of the volunteers that work with the clients that go through. And there's a coordinator in each of those churches. So if anybody's willing to volunteer, that would be fantastic to contact them. But we also need food shelf volunteers on a regular basis. And if they contacted the food shelf, we can hook you up and get you on there. Plus, we need some volunteers on the board of directors. So if anyone has an interest to be on the board of directors, that would be great too.
Okay. So we already talked about how folks sign up for the service. If anyone in the public wants to kind of help out, any donations,
Yep.
food or monetary, how
Yep.
would that work?
They can send monetary donations, and I have to make sure I have this address right, because if they just address it to the street address of the food shelf, it won't get there. So they have to do it to P.O. Box 761.
Okay.
Or on Facebook, we have a website, and it has where you can contribute that way too. Plus, I know many of the stores in town will have a box that says, you know, donate to the food shelf here. A lot of churches have an individual box in their area too that you could donate to. So lots of ways to donate.
Okay, is there anything else that we didn't cover?
I don't think so. I think that's about it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Again, the Food Shelf is one of the many programs supported by United Way of the Brown County area, monetarily and otherwise. And this can't be done without the community support. You know, bringing in those funds to work for the health, education, and financial stability of Brown County is just so important. We are currently doing our community investments grant process. If you have any questions on that or need more information, you can visit our website, unitedwaybrowncountyarea.org, or you can call our office 507-354-6512.
And thank you so much for those of you that donate and give your time or your money or your talents to help out the food shelf, because it's definitely very welcome.
Absolutely.
And thank you to United Way for your support too. That's been very helpful, very helpful.
Wonderful. Thank you again for joining us, and thank you so much for Living United.